item of business is the election of chairman for the Board of Public Works. So at this time, I would entertain nominations for chairman of the Board of Public Works. Mr. Peschel.
I'll nominate Mike Fire.
All right. Have a nomination for Alderman Fire. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Yeah. I plan on nominating Nick Peschel.
All right. So we have a nomination for Alderman Peschel. One more time, any other nomination? Right, seeing none, we will close nominations and ask you to use the paper in front of you to cast a vote for either Nick Peschel, Mike Fire. We'll collect those. All right, our new chairman is Nick Peschel. Nick, if you wouldn't mind taking the chair.
Unexpected, so I don't even have my agenda up here yet. That's not. Thank you. Unexpected. The next item on the agenda is the election of the vice chairman of the Board of Public Works. Are there any nominations? Okay. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close the nominations. Can we just declare him the winner, or do we have to vote?
Yeah, the motion would be to close nominations and elect Alderman Fire.
Someone want to make that motion? Motion by Adam, a second by Mike. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Seeing none, that motion carried. Item 4 is approval of the minutes of the April 18th, 2022 Board of Public Works meeting. Motion by Fire, second by Fisher. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That motion carries. Item number 5 is citizen comments. Are there any citizens who wish to comment? Madam Mayor? You appear to be the only one here tonight. No?
Just a quick announcement, there will be a road closure for the Marshfield Clinic Skywalk system starting next a week from Thursday, May 12th, and it'll go till May 20th. They need to set up a crane on Oak Avenue to put in concrete panels. That, again, is from May 12th or May 12th to the 20th of this month.
Okay. Seeing no citizen comments, we'll move on to item number 6, approval of the engineering services for the Adler Road Trail Project, presented by Dan Connect. Dan.
Thank you. You'll recall that back in 2020, the city was awarded a Transportation Alternatives Program grant for the construction of a trail along the south side of Adler Road from Sycamore Avenue to Weber Park. And that trail project would complete a missing link in the city's trail network. That funding period begins in July of 2022, so just around the corner. This project is a little bit different than some others in that we have both design and construction funded through the grant, 80% federal, 20% local. On other projects like we've done SDP urban projects, the 29th Street, Lincoln Avenue project, the city has funded the design 100%. So we would use our local procurement methods for selecting an engineering firm. In this case, with funding coming from the grant for the design of the project, we need to follow the DOT procurement process. So back in December, you might remember that the Board of Public Works approved a request for proposals, and then we distributed that to 3 consultants that we have worked with in the past for a response. What's different about the DOT process is that it's strictly quality-based selection process. The consultants do not provide any costs when they're submitting their proposals. It's based on their previous experience and work history, qualifications, essentially. Consultants are then ranked, and then the DOT would negotiate a fee with them based on the top ranked firm. If that firm and negotiation are not successful, then they'd move to the second firm and so forth. It's a little bit different process than what we use. The DOT takes care of those negotiations, so it's up to us to rank firms that we would like to work with. So as I said, we sent that RFP to 3 firms. 1 firm chose not to submit. So we ended up with just 2 submittals, one from Grammar Associates of Clover and one from MSA here in Marshfield. Because it follows an established corridor, the trail is not a complicated engineering project, but it does pose some challenge with real estate and acquiring some easements and maybe some property from adjacent property owners. So MSA does have some experience with the real estate. In fact, they're working for us on the Lincoln Avenue project nearby. And so the strength of their team, including the real estate folks, seem to be a benefit to bring them into the project. They also have a pretty wide range of trail projects that they've worked on around the state previously. So staff is recommending the selection of MSA Professional Services. Once we would turn this over to DOT, they will complete the negotiations, and the resulting contract be brought back to the Board of Public Works for approval. It actually ends up being a 3-party contract signed by DOT, the city, and the consultant. So the recommended action is to accept the proposal from MSA Professional Services for engineering services on the Adler Road Trail project and request WSDOT proceed with contract negotiation.
Pleasure. Okay. Second?
Second.
Mike is second. Mike and Mike? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries. Item number 7 is approval of a mini excavator purchase for the Parks and Recreation Department, presented by Ben Steinbach, Parks and Recreation Superintendent.
Thank you, sir. We are looking at replacing our oldest mini excavator. It has over 4,500 miles on it. It scores out at a 32, which means it's in the immediate consideration category. So we looked at 3 different brands, a John Deere, a Case, and a Bobcat, and we feel that the Bobcat fits our needs the best. We have $65,000 budgeted, and the price came from Nemeth Implement at $58,045.32. We got that price through Sourcewell, which is a state equivalent bid, and they use the state bid process. Funding for it is my last paragraph here. It gets a little bit tricky. This is actually budgeted in our 23 calendar year. But with the supply demands and layovers, I guess, we have a pickup truck for 22 and a stump grinder in 22 to be purchased, but the bids aren't open for them yet on the state bids. So even if we order them now, we won't get them until 23. So we can't pay for them until 23. So what we're asking for is to kind of flip-flop the excavator and the truck and the grinder, stump grinder in the calendar years. So the mini excavator is available now. We could order it and pay for it now. And then once the truck and the grinder become available later in the summer, we could order it and pay for it in 23. That makes sense. We have funds available. It's just flip-flopping the years that we order and receive them. If anybody's got questions on that, please go ahead and ask. But staff recommendation is to approve. Staff recommends the board approve the purchase of the mini excavator from Nemeth Implement for $58,045.32.
Ben, is the mini excavator is available, if it will be delivered?
Yep, it's available now. We order it, and it'll come to Nemeth Implement. They'll make the modifications that we are asking for. We can pay for it this fall. Once the state bids for the truck and the grinder become available, we can order those, but we know that those trucks won't be available, or those pieces of the equipment won't be available until 23. We don't pay for the equipment until we receive it. So that's how the funds would be. So actually, the 22 purchases would happen in 23.
Mike?
That'll be sold on the auction, so Wisconsin surplus. The funds for that goes back into the M&E account. I think we're anticipating 20 to 25,000 for the sale of the old one.
Motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second by Adam. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carried.
Thank you.
Item 8 is recommended items for future agenda. Anybody? Adam, or?
I was just going to mention that a few of you have mentioned you're not available at our next meeting. At this point, I don't know if we have anything pressing for 2 weeks from tonight, but if we do, would 3 of you at least be available for a meeting on May 16th? Yeah, we could still meet if need be.
And Adam?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, we could get a staff update at an upcoming meeting about the ATV. I know that had been talked about several months ago, and I would just like that kind.
Sure. You want to bring up that item you talked about the other night?
So I had a house owner that called me up and wondered about no mow May. No mowing your lawn in May for the bees to pollinate during the springtime. She called up. I did look up some stuff. There are other cities that are doing it. Obviously, it's not something, I told her it's not something we can really put together right now. I did talk to Dan with what would happen to her if she were not to mow her lawn, and put a little sign on her lawn stating why she's doing that. You know, obviously, if she got a complaint to her, she would have like 10 days to mow her lawn for the city ordinance, or?
Yeah, it's not a set time, but they would first be mailed a notice and then have time to comply with that by a certain date. And then we'd go out and inspect to see if it's mowed and so forth. So there's a little bit of time. It's a little different than sidewalk snow removal, where a notice is not mailed out ahead of time. So and since we work on a complaint basis here, I've had a few calls on this, and we just suggest people talk to their neighbors and let them know why they're doing what they're doing. And
So it might be something we could bring up, discuss, maybe something we even have to go to the council with and chat with, but it would obviously be something for next year if it catches on, you know, with the rest of the state. I know Stevens Point has something going on, and up north, I saw it on the news too. There's one up by Rhinelander, Green Bay. So, you know. Right, so. Yeah, so. Right. Might be something to discuss a little bit further.
right, I think if we wanted to be more formal with it, we'd have the council take some action to grant that grace period for next year.
Thank you.
Any other items for future agenda? Motion to adjourn? Motion by Brian, second by Adam. We're adjourned.